Let's bring in now Israeli government spokesman David Mencer. David, it does feel like an attack either from Iran or from Hezbollah in the north is now inevitable. One Iranian academic we spoke to there says Israel has brought it upon themselves.
Yeah, in the famous words of all great anti-Semites, the Jewish people, of course, always bring the terrorism and the hatred that we face upon ourselves. Look, this Iranian axis of evil has formed a stranglehold against Israel. It's a ring of armed terror armies. Look, Jane, they're our enemy here in Israel, but we're only a stopgap on the way over to you, because Iran hates the West. They hate democracies. They hate any liberal democracies anywhere in the world. So they call us the small Satan. They call you and the US the great Satan. Look, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, and other militias. Look, Israel is going to exact a heavy price for any aggression against us from any arena. We've made clear we'll always put our first hand out to peace to any partner. We want peace with Iran's people. But this regime, this fascist Islamist regime, which is in control in Tehran, they need to understand that our long arm will reach anyone who causes our people harm. The elimination of commanders of the military wings of both Hamas and Hezbollah. We send a very clear message to anyone who threatens Israel. The days of taking pot shots against my people are over. We're able to defend ourselves, and that is precisely what our duty is, and that is precisely what we will do.
You say Israel will always extend the hand of peace, but when it comes to negotiations, the Israeli finance ministers called the proposed ceasefire deal a surrender deal and a trap. That's led to John Kirby, the US National Security spokesperson, saying that the comments were dead wrong and misleading to the Israeli public. Does Israel really want peace?
So we dream of the day when a cabinet minister in Iran would say something different to the supreme leader. That would be a sign that it's a free and liberal democracy, precisely what we are here. Look, we've got a wide range of opinions around the cabinet table in the country as well. But of course, it's the prime minister and the government as a whole which makes policy. And we've made it very, very clear that we want to get our hostages back, which was why we have agreed to send the next delegation to the hostage release negotiations on the 15th of August. It's our duty to get these people out. It's an open sore in Israeli society. Just think of that 5-year-old boy, Ariel Bibas, sitting in a Hamas tunnel. He celebrated his 5th birthday just a week ago today. It's unbelievable cruelty, but we have a duty to defend our people, to get our hostages out and to destroy this genocidal, murderous organization of Hamas, but also having a very clear eye that it's Iran that empowers all these Jew haters, all these West haters, all these UK haters. We're on the front line here. We're battling them here. We will stand up to them, but make no mistake, they're not just after us, they're after you as well, Jane.
As we think about that young Israeli boy, we also think about the early morning strike at the school compound in Gaza over the weekend. Hundreds of refugees were there, many women and children who had been at morning prayers or dead. Israel estimates 19 militants among the dead. The charity Save the Children say they believe at least 100 dead. Does Israel consider these civilians collateral damage?
Look, first things first, it's no longer a school when Hamas and Islamic Jihad take over a facility. Then it becomes a military site. Now, we'll always try and keep hostages, to keep all civilians out of harm's way. That's a key part of our strategy. But the way that Hamas and Islamic Jihad fight us, they make it inevitable that there are civilian casualties. No matter how hard we try, they make it inevitable. Look, the only the only front of this war which we are losing on, it's not the military front. We're beating Hamas, we're destroying them, we're shattering their battalions. It's the PR battle. We recognize that. And this is precisely what Hamas is after. This is their strategy. They can't beat us on the battlefield, but they think that they can beat us in PR terms. It is Hamas that is responsible for any civilian casualties in Gaza. They're not that upset that there are civilian casualties. They wish there were 10 times more, because it's a key part of their strategy. We know that, but we're going after the terrorists. We're not going to stop until this genocidal organization is taken away from the leadership of Gaza to give Gazans a better future and us a better future living in peace here.
You seem to be dismissing the deaths of 81 people as a PR coup for Hamas. These are mothers, children, these are families, many of whom have been displaced from other parts of Gaza, who wouldn't have anywhere else to go, who very probably had very little choice about where they were able to get shelter, whether or not Hamas were using the same building.
So, Jane, firstly, that's quite offensive to say that. My point to you is that we released the photographs of 19 terrorists with blood on their hands, their names, their crimes, the organization, and we targeted them and we defeated them. We used extremely precise intelligence. Our footage, and we've released this footage, shows very clearly there were no civilians in the area at the time of the blast. Look, we have to wake up.
That's not what Save the Children say, though,
right?
And they are also there on the ground.
We need to have our eyes open on this. This is a PR battle which we're facing as well. You know, Hamas wants these images to be shown in the Western media. Our info is that we got these 19 terrorists. We're pleased about that because you know, the world's a better place without them. We can move on in our battle to
but
try
what
and restore
about the other
peace.
81 is my point.
There aren't any 81. That's the truth of the matter. There aren't any.
That is not
other.
what charities are saying there.
Right. So unfortunately, lots of people like UNRWA, which is also a charity, they actually participated.
But this is Save the Children. This isn't UNRWA.
So I don't know about Save the Children. But what I know is this is a PR battle. I've given you our intelligence. We know that 19 were killed. We're looking into if there were any other collateral damage, which of course we'll apologise for if that is the case. But what I'm telling you is we can say categorically when we fired these precise munitions, calibrated perfectly to get precisely to the terrorists, to make sure there aren't any civilian casualties, there weren't any other civilians in the area. So any other ideas which might come afterwards, it's incumbent on world media to be critical, to look at these issues with a critical eye, because Hamas have a history of lying. I mean, you know, none of us here in Israel are surprised. They raped our families. They burnt whole families alive. You know, it's no big surprise that they happen to be liars as well. But I understand for Western
Hamas
media.
that I'm certainly quoting here. It's the charity Save the Children.
So almost, Jane, this is an important point because almost nothing, no information leaves Gaza without it being cleared by
It would help if international journalists were allowed in there by Israel, then we would be able to give independent verification, but you don't allow us in, so we can't. Can I just put one final point to you?
Whatever
happened on Saturday?
That's what you call a drive-by. Allow me to respond to that when you make that accusation. This has been one of the most reported conflicts ever.
But not freely by the international media. The international media, Sky News, are only allowed in accompanied by Israel on very, very limited trips.
It is a very dangerous war zone for the safety of these journalists, but we're keeping them out. But we will let them in.
That's a decision that you've just acknowledged. You are keeping them out.
No, the decision I'm taking, I'm telling you about, is that we're focusing on bringing our hostages home. That's what our emphasis is, you know, because the story's getting out. I mean, you see them on your screens every single moment of every single day. So the story is getting out. So this idea that it isn't getting out is ridiculous. It's on our front screens all the time.
But it's hard because if I say a fact and then you say it's Hamas, we can't independently verify it because you won't let us in. So it becomes a circular argument, doesn't it? Whatever happened on Saturday, we've seen the images, we've spoken to Save the Children. Do you think what happened on Saturday helps the chances of your hostages getting out safely that so many in Israel want to desperately see?
So from the top of the government down, all of us want to see our hostages home. It's an open sore in Israeli society. It's a terrible thing which has happened to our people. 311 days now in Hamas's grips. But let me let you in on our military strategy. We know what works with Hamas. Up until now, Hamas have walked away from every time, except for the occasion in November. They've walked away every time when we're getting close to a hostage release deal. You know what works with Hamas? It is comprehensive military pressure against them. That's how we hold their feet to the fire, and that's how we get our hostages back, because that is the military strategy which actually pays dividends. If we can't send them an email, we can't make a polite request for them to send our people home. It's when they feel the pressure against their fighters, against their terrorist force, that's when they negotiate. And that's the policy which we have already shown to have been successful, and that's what will bring results. It's difficult, Jane, I don't make any qualms about that. This is a horrible war which we didn't want. It's an urban warfare. It's not a pleasant place to be, but we need to destroy this terrorist organization to bring peace back into the region, to give freedom back to Gazans to have a better future for their own children.
David Mencer, spokesman for the Israeli government, thank you for your time today.
Good to be with you.